Typically, I'm not really into mobile games, mostly due to things such as time gating and autoplay combat, but I was recently offered a sponsorship for a game called Rangers of Oblivion. I decided to check out the game first before going forward with the sponsorship to see if it offered anything different to other mobile RPGs I'd played in the past, and to my surprise, it's actually quite good. Like, in terms of combat and pure gameplay, it's easily the most fun mobile RPG I've played so far, and nope, there's no auto combat in this one, you actually need to play the game. Before we go any further, disclosure, this video is sponsored and the link to download this game can be found in the description below. So starting out, you obviously need to make a character. You have the choice between male or female, with one of the male presets looking like a young version of Geralt of Rivia. Let's be honest though, 99% of you will probably pick the female option. Other than the 6 facial presets, you're also given a surprisingly vast amount of sliders for different parts of the eyes, eyebrows, nose, mouth, face, different hairstyles, iris types, makeup, and tattoos. Honestly, it's a lot more choice than you get from some PC games, so that's kinda cool. When you've finished making a waifu that's body pillow worthy, you can then colour your clothing and preview some predictably revealing outfits that you can get later on. I didn't see any body part sliders, although I guess that's because all of the important areas are just set to maximum by default anyway. After that, you're shown a short cutscene of your character waking up on a wagon and given a bit of lore that explains how mankind has been forced to live behind giant walls due to massive behemoths that live on the other side. This sounds like an awesome plot for a very popular anime that, if it did exist, I'd say would probably be halfway through season 3 right now. After you've skipped past reading the lore, you talk to a few NPCs and learn the controls of the game. Something that immediately stuck out to me was the freedom you feel when it comes to the movement of your character and camera in this game. You basically use your left thumb to move the character and your right thumb for the camera, which can be zoomed in and out and rotated up and down like you'd expect from a PC RPG, for example. Slowly the game introduces different mechanics such as the dodge roll, targeting, and abilities to you before finally asking you to select a weapon, which is essentially your class. You have access to every weapon in the game initially, so don't stress over this too much. Eventually you're sent on your first mission where the game explains the gather and crafting system, which is quite easy to understand if you've played any Monster Hunter style games before. After that, you're tasked to take on your first behemoth. Now, usually the first boss in your standard mobile MMORPG is a bit of a face roll, but this one actually felt like a fight. This big fucker will CC and charge the shit out of you if you're not using your dodge roll and getting out of the way. At this point, the game also taught me about the true sight feature that shows weak points on the monster that you can attack for bonus loot and damage. During these behemoth fights, I think the combat in Rangers of Oblivion really shines. I love that this isn't one of those auto combat, pay zero attention to your screen mobile RPGs. The combat is so involved that I genuinely struggled to play this game on an emulator because you really need to control it with both hands. I also found the spacing of various UI elements to be quite comfortable even for my big ass thumbs, and the UI in general to be quite clean without a whole lot of pointless clutter. After your victory against the behemoth, you're given various rewards, including your first horse, which is quite the speed demon, and you're sent to be approved as a ranger, which in the game's lore is someone who's allowed outside the walls to fight. During this process, you need to align yourself with one of 5 world souls, which grant you additional powers and abilities. I decided to align with Tyr, the god of war and destruction, because I envisioned my character as being a psychopath that wants to see the world burn. After that, we're congratulated by our friends, sent into a tavern to buy a beer, stare at the bar girl's cleavage for a bit, talk to some local alcoholics, and admire players with way cooler gear than me. Eventually we catch up with our friends and get sent on another mission. This time we're introduced to the tracking feature, which essentially just means you need to use your true sight to find tracks that lead to different areas. We gather some resources, skip a bunch of dialogue, and kill another behemoth, this time using our newly acquired world soul abilities to spice up the combat even more. I don't want to spoil the story of what happens next, but overall I was really impressed with the gameplay and presentation of this mobile game. Like, the game's pretty fun right off the bat because you've got a lot of abilities early on, you're fighting cool monsters really quickly, the main story is fully voice acted with a nice soundtrack, and the user interface is very intuitive and easy to interact with. Things I didn't really touch on much: there's an NPC relationship and pet system, you can tame wild horses through a minigame, go fishing, do cooking, there's side quests that make the game feel less linear, and you can group up with other players during missions. Most of you know I've never been a big mobile game fan, but I reckon this is one I'd actually play if I had a bit of of time to kill on the train or something, and due to the structure of the game and the missions, it's quite easy to pick up and put back down again if you've got a few minutes. So yeah, that's Rangers of Oblivion for you, one of the few mobile RPGs I'd actually recommend checking out. As always guys, do let me know your thoughts on this game in the comments below, and if you are interested in it, then click the spons.org/LazyPeon link in the description below, and a big shout out to the developers of this game for the sponsorship. Thanks for watching, I hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you again really soon.